All right. Well, I guess we'll edit out whatever day it is of Thotmas. I guess unless we're just gonna do this is day 12. So, Droid, you are the very first up out there in Australia. So go ahead and give it to us.
I'll give you one story. I can't remember what year it was. I want to say it's 2015 or 2016. I'm trying to date as best I can while at university, and the women in Australia, especially Melbourne, are the most high maintenance women you'll ever see in the world. Like you listen to guys like Joker, Better Bachelor, talk about how it's all 80% women going for that top 10% of guys. That shit was invented here. That's where it all started. So you could be like, I'm 6'3". I was a lot thinner back then. I look like Ratchet Henry Cavill, but even I struggled, man. I struggled just to get
What does that say about the women?
Their standards are insane. Like, I got my girlfriend. She'll tell me about her friends from high school, and they're all like pretty blonde chicks who went to like the top tier private girls school, right? So you can't understand what you're getting. She got one friend who she's a science teacher now. She'd be what, 27, 28. She spent the last 8 years basically getting ran through and turning into a leftist mouthpiece. She's a science teacher, so she's completely indoctrinated into that side of
Beautiful.
politics.
She's great for her. She's a good slam pig now. Oh, now, Jordan, I got to ask you this simple question, though. You talk about the women's expectations and all that, right? I got to ask, give us a description of what most of these Aussie women look like, because they want the top guy. What do they look like?
Well, I'll just quickly finish what I was saying. Like, so this chick, she'd date guys from nightclubs and expect relationships out of them. Of course, that's not going to happen. She then tried the simp boys and realized, oh, okay, he's nice, but he won't fuck me against the wall, sort of thing. So she dumped them, and then she tried chicks, realized dating women is crazy, and now she's talking about getting IVF, and like, it's an ever escalating problem, and she's not recognizing she's the failure in all the situations. And that's what they look like. Margot Robbie is probably stock standard for attractiveness here.
Yeah, just a pretty blonde chick, right? Pretty blonde, awesome.
Well, yeah,
chick.
that's all. She's from here. Like that's what she was before she became Hollywood famous. The women here are either like drop dead gorgeous, or they're kind of like real trailer trashy. There's no real in between.
Oh, damn. Well, now, I gotta ask you this though. What about the New Zealand chicks? Because I've heard
New Zealand chicks are different.
They look hideous.
They're very kind of average, middle of the road.
Yeah, they're fat. They're the fat chicks, right?
And their accent was like fucking nails on chalkboard, mate.
Oh.
Yeah, it's always fun to hear someone with an interesting accent critique other accents, right?
Yeah,
because they all just sound like accents to us Americans.
Well, that's the thing. Like, Aussies grew up listening to TV from all over the world, so we can pick it really easy. Like, our accent's very relaxed, very monotone. We can tell Canadians apart from the US. We can tell all the accents from within the US.
Oh, you can, huh?
Yeah.
You really can, huh?
Yeah, I can. Whereas, say, you got
it's
three
the code
accents,
words, right? You know it's a Canadian when they say, "Oh yeah, no, for sure."
Sure, a boot. Sorry.
We don't say a boot.
Depends on what side of Canada you're from, yeah.
I mean Newfoundland, but Newfoundland is like the New Zealand of Australia.
I think so. Maybe you accentuate your vowels.
Yeah, it's the it's the letter T. You can always pick out the letter T from a Canadian because we never pronounce it. It's our mother, father.
We're going out.
Yeah, Toronto. Toronto.
Yeah.
This is hideous. So here's the thing though, you're talking about these Aussie chicks and the progression they go through, because that's tick for tack with what I've experienced with the feminist broads, right? They always go for the wokeness, right? They get indoctrinated. They go out there looking for a certain type of guy, right? They become slam pigs, get ran through. And like you said, they end up going, well, you know what, Droid? I'm going to get me a nice guy. And then like the simp can't make them wet. And they're literally incapable of getting wet for a simp, right? And
It's
then
not
you're
even
right,
that.
they
It's
always
even
try
worse
chicks.
here. Like, no shit, it's even worse here. What it is it's like take what you experience in most major cities in the West now. In Melbourne, especially in Sydney, it's the extremes of that. It's that on steroids. So, like I think I mentioned this before when I was on the show. In America, you kind of got this idea of like it's the pretty women is kind of split in two. You got the pretty women like your LA, New York types. That's pretty much what all pretty women here are now. Leftist by default. They run purely by emotion. They're attractive and look after themselves, and they're raised on a healthy diet of feminism from the second they leave their mother's vagina at birth. All through everything here is geared to females. The guys here, the large percentage of men here are probably your tradie types. Rough, average looking. Maybe they clean up okay on race day or something. Very few of them are in that simpy, ugly, nerdy role, and very few of them are in that top tier pretty boy look. And it depends which country you're from. Like if you watch like Geordie Shore or Jersey Shore, that's that kind of culture. That's not really here. Like guys here are very much blokes. They're very much fucking lumberjack type dudes. But even those
Let me
guys
ask you this
can't get
question.
the hot
So
women.
Droid, when it comes to the type of men that are available, right? Because this has a lot to do with women's hypergamy and their tales of Thotmas, right?
Yeah.
Which is basically when these are the options of the dudes, women's actions will ultimately illustrate this. So you're describing like you said, your average guy, tradie kind of guy, you're just your average bloke, right?
Yeah.
These are the guys that if they fall just a little bit too far into the simp mode, how do these guys get used by these women? Like, tell us what these women are doing behind closed
That's the
doors.
thing. The guys I know who are tradies and that, a lot of them are simps, but they don't know it, right? Because these guys earn a shit ton of money. They're fit. They got six packs. But when it comes to social interaction and social intelligence, they tend to be lacking in that arena. So what you'll have hot women hook up with these guys, maybe marry them and then leave them to drain them of all they've got, because these guys just they shit money basically. They work their asses off and they shit money, but they're not that smart when it comes to relationships. Now, the guys who tend to be smarter with the relationships are more white collar worker type guys. Now, these guys will play the field, but they're kind of lacking in the personality, like because the standard of the Australian women here is so fucking high. Like they all want their Chris Hemsworth, the Henry Cavill type looking dudes now. It's ever escalating. But their standards, like they may be fit and look after themselves, but their standards for themselves is getting lower and lower and lower, and it's splitting further and further apart. Honestly, like the few people I know who have relationships now, it's not even. It's kind of like they hit 30 and they got lucky and found like that good woman. And they are out there, but they're fucking rare, you know. But even the guys here, you got a generation raised by single mothers. I mean, you can't really blame them because they just haven't got that strong alpha male sort of role model in their lives anymore. I mean, I've got cousins who are raised by single mothers and they're tough guys and they're fucking tradies and shit. But when it comes to women, they make the worst decisions you've ever seen in your life. They're fucking knocking up some white trash chick, having a baby, and
we got to wrap soon.
All right.
We still got to get the third part in before Duke gets here.
If I'm ranting, just interrupt. My brain will just keep going there.
All right, I just saw Duke Skywalker entered the server, so let me go give him a roll. We'll give a wrap on the Thotmas, and then we'll come back for the final part.
Oh, I didn't get to tell my fucking dating story. You distracted me, Jeff.
Shit, well, go ahead and tell it.
God damn it!
Oh, yeah.
So all of that's getting cut, right?
Yeah, right.
You'll have an editing job after this, mate. This is probably interrupt me, and I go on a tangent. I can't fucking get anyway.
Well, I wasn't paying attention because I'm watching a football game.
Yeah, do your job.
All right,
man.
so Droid, go ahead and tell us. Tell us about the thottiness that's happened out in Australia, sir. Go ahead.
I'll give you one story. So this is going back a few years. So it's probably 2016 maybe. Doing the online dating thing. matched with some woman. She's a few years old. I think she's like 33. I was probably 27 at the time or something. You know, I'm always very cautious when women move too quick because, Aussie women aren't like that. Aussie women, you basically have to go through the gauntlet just to get their attention. So she invites me out. We go to a pub, have some drinks. She seems nice. She's cute. She invites me upstairs to this dance thing. There's got a fucking smoke machine and all that sort of thing. So we're dancing, and then she just lays it on me and starts making out with me. I'm like, okay, I haven't had action in a while. Let's go for it. Night goes on. We go, okay, it's time to go home. She's ridden her push bike to the pub. It was probably about 4 kilometers away. So I put her bike in the back of my car and I drive her home. She invites me in for a drink. I'm like, yeah, why not? Never know where I'm going to get it anytime soon. So go in. We have some drinks. Her house it's a 1-story house and it's very long, very rectangle shaped. So at the front of the house, you go through the front door. There's a living room and there's a kitchen, and then to the side, there's a side door and a hallway, and goes down the back of the house where the bedrooms are. Now we're laying on a mattress in the living room, looking up at the ceiling, listening to music, and I'm wasted at this point. And she starts taking off her clothes, and things go where they go. And then so it's probably about 4 o'clock in the morning. The phone rings, and I hear the phone. I'm like, "Is that a phone?" She's like, "Oh, just ignore it. Just ignore it." Anyway, she's down to her panties at this point, and the phone rings again. I'm like, "You gonna get that? What's going on?" And I'm laughing and giggling, and she's like, "Oh God, what the fuck?" And she gets up and skips down a side door into the hallway to get the phone. I hear some kind of like raised voices, but I don't know exactly what's going on. I got a fucking glass of whiskey in my hand, looking at the ceiling, singing along to Elvis or something like that. And she comes out and she goes, "God damn it!" I'm like, "What's going on?" She's like, "Don't worry about it." She gets back on the bed and the phone rings again. I'm like, "What the fuck?" It's like 4 o'clock in the morning. She gets up to go like basically take the phone off the hook, and she turns and picture this in your mind. So this room is rectangle shaped. The front door's at one end of the rectangle, the kitchen's at the other. Now, I'm laying on a mattress in the middle of the rectangle room, looking at the ceiling with my back to the front door. And she's standing in front of me with the kitchen behind her, looking at the front door behind me. She squeals and then runs down the hallway, down the side door. And I'm like, what the fuck is going on? And then I sit up, turn around, and there's a dude looking through the front door. So this front door had glass panels. I think there's about 6 or 8 of them. And he's got a mobile phone to his ear, and his eyes are like bugging out his head, like, what the fuck? And I turn around and I've gone, what the fuck? And I've looked back, like, what the hell's going on? And she comes back with a singlet on, like a wife beater on, and she says, just wait there. And I'm like, oh, what the fuck have I got myself into? She goes to the front door. I don't turn around at all because I don't want to instigate anything, right? 4 o'clock in the morning, I'm drunk. I can't drive home. You got to be careful. Drex will tell you this. Listen, boys. Learn the red flags. So she's arguing with this dude, and I assume it's her boyfriend. He starts screaming, "Who the fuck's that? What's going on?" I'm just sitting there going, "What the fuck? What the fuck?" And she screams at him, "Go away! I'll call the cops," or something like that. She comes back and grabs my hand to like pull me off the mattress to like drag me down the back of the house. I'm sitting there and I don't go, and I say, "What the fuck is going on? Who is that? What have you got me into?" And next thing I know, I hear glass smash.
Oh
I hear
shit!
smash, 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 and this spray of broken glass has just gone across the room, and it's just hit me in the back of the head, gone down my neck, my shirt, like all over the floor. And I'm like, what the fuck's going on? So he's punched in all the glass panels of the front door. He had a like a 1 liter Jack Daniel's whiskey bottle, and he's reached to try to throw it at me, and he's missed, and it's hit the wall, shattered, and glass has gone everywhere. So she's freaking out. I'm freaking out. She grabs my hand and drags me down the hallway into a bedroom. It's pitch black, locks the door behind her. I'm sitting on the end of the bed. She's sitting on the floor at the end of the bed, kind of like up more at fetal position. And I'm like, you want to tell me what the fuck's going on? What the fuck's going on? And she's like, I don't know why he does this. Why is he here? What's he doing? It's like, who the fuck is that? And what the hell's going on? She's like, it's my ex. I was like, your ex? Why is he acting like that? We broke up 3 months ago. I told him we broke up, I'm like, that was like, and she mentions like they had sex 12. No, he mentioned before that, what the fuck? We slept together 13 hours ago,
Ooh.
Yeah. And I'm like, women don't understand. If you're still sleeping with the dude, that you probably still think you're still dating, even if you think that you've broken up, unless you've pre-established that it's just banging. If you're in a relationship and she's like, oh, I broke up, women are emotional creatures. They'll break up with you over all sorts of shit and it won't mean anything. But always be firm in the definitions of
So
things.
what was their real relationship? Because this clearly was not her ex, man. This is her actual dude.
It was.
It was.
Yeah. She obviously didn't break up with him clear enough and sleeping with him the morning before, I guess, or 13 hours earlier. Clearly didn't confused his poor brain. But yeah, so I'm locked in this room. I don't know if this guy's gonna fucking shank me or what. Like, I don't know if he's in the living room, if he broke in. I can't leave. You're in this situation where it's like, well, fuck, what am I gonna do? I'm drunk. I can't leave. I got this cute girl in this bedroom, and she's fucking crazy. I'm trapped. Now, I've gotten into conversations with my girlfriend about this and other friends where we know what a woman being raped or put in situations where she feels she can't say no. I feel men have the exact same thing, but in different circumstances. Like, I think most guys will attest to, we've been in a situation where we slept with a woman that we immediately regretted it after and wanted to go take a fucking shower and dry reach, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Or we've been in a situation where you felt like you had to have sex with her because if you didn't, she'd go nuts on you and fucking make a false accusation or something.
Yep.
This was one of my situations. So I'm locked in this room with a crazy ex-boyfriend, possibly on the other side of the door. Fucking shattered glass everywhere. I'm drunk. I can't leave. It's pitch black. And she's just like, come on, let's just go to bed. Let's just go to bed. And it's like fucking 4:30 in the morning at this point. I'm in bed. Fucking my heart's going through the roof. And eventually we're just like, you know what? I'm just going to go to sleep. Roll over and go to sleep. And then she does the roll over. What do you want to do to me? I'm like, the fuck? Did you not just see what happened? What the hell?
I would say you were probably 20 minutes from getting HMT'd.
Bro, you were literally about to be in an HMT episode for real. Like, literally.
All right.
Yeah. Well,
yeah. We gotta wrap, man.
Now, Droid, what did you learn?
Smash and run the fuck away.
now, Droid, one of the direct
rules. Never go to her house.
Never go to her house. I have a rule about that, right?
Yeah.
Now you know why.
And full of cum and really got laid. So
no, I've been there. It's how I created the rule. I realize I'm only alive today because I was in a situation, not quite like yours, but I was in a situation close enough where I was like, oh, maybe I should only go to hotels.
Yeah, and that's the thing. It's like women will do that. I've heard more stories from guys about this, and it's girls have tried to do it to me after that, where they try to use another guy to basically, the guy breaks up with them and they'll go fucking sleep with some dude and make you think that she's actually interested in you, but really she just wants you to pleasure her, and then she'll ghost you or something, or they use you to, basically send a message to the ex. But, in a country with guns, that's very fucking risky. Here, I might have got a fucking glass shoved in my neck or something. It doesn't matter, but it comes down to the ethics of the thing, which is you just don't know anymore, and you got to be very, very careful about how you navigate the world of dating.
Well, thank you for that lesson, sir. That is our 12th day of Thotmas. So welcome everybody to yet another edition of these fucking Thotmas Carols and the 12 Days of Thotmas. We have a special guest, a new guest, man of one title, who is going to be in here letting us know a story that he thinks that we all need to hear. And I know there's going to be a very good lesson. So man of one title, go ahead and introduce yourself.
All right, thanks very much, Rex. Yeah, so I'm Man of One Title. I just joined the Discord not too long ago, and I'm a fan of the show, man. Um, I did find out about you through Nick, and I started watching the Migtown episodes for a little bit, and I really, really dig it. And I wanted to come on and sort of share a story that I was hearing when I was hearing you do a little talk earlier about open relationships. And I had mentioned, oh man, I got a story about open relationships, and I wanted to share it with you guys and kind of sort of give like a little bit of a lesson about it. So, um, yeah, I'll go ahead and I'll start. If that's all right.
Go ahead, give us the backstory first, so everybody knows like what's the, who is the guy in the story, who's the girl in the story. Give us like a little background.
Remember, no
All
names
right.
on the
Well, no names, no worries. No, yeah, I don't worry. So the guy was me in 2013 with a girl that I was with when I was living in LA. So here's what was going on. This girl that I was dating back in 2013 that I been with for a couple of years. One day, I've been now, and I was living with her as well. One day, I found out that she was cheating on me, um, and I had been living with her not too long, and wasn't in the house very much. So I had, the way I found out about it was she had left a laptop open one day while I was just at the house, and found out that this chick was going on Craigslist and sending out messages to go and meet up with dudes, like just randomly. Because
Oh,
this chick, come to find out, was pretty much a whore. Now, I got pissed off, obviously, and left the house for a while. And she begged me to come back, like pulled it, did all the tricks. Now, I basically told her, I said, look, like everything, like all the trust that I have with you is gone now. Like that's like like I do not put up with cheating. The only way I'm even gonna bother with you anymore is if I can go out and fuck other girls. And she's like, okay, sure, like whatever, anything, just please don't leave. And regretfully, I said, all right. Now that only lasted for about a couple of months, and it was the most frustrating and demasculating thing I think I'd ever gone through, because it's like, yeah, I can go and fuck other girls, but like, why the fuck am I still with this woman? Because it just I knew that it just wasn't right, and knowing that that was what she was getting up to was it was just bad. And now after a couple of months of that, here like that's just the first part, the first preamble to the story. So one day, I was at the house by myself, and I decided to, and I didn't have work for a couple of days, so I decided to take some LSD, and which is something that I used to do every once in a while to kind of just check in to see what condition my condition was in. And I just thought about what I was doing, and like it became very clear to me. It's like, dude, this is fucking weak. Like, you're letting this happen. Then that means you're weak. This is bullshit. So that night, she came over and she was wanting to fuck. Now, I don't know if anybody here has ever been on LSD before, and I've heard some of my friends say that when they do it, they like to fuck while they're on it. Not me. There might as well be a fucking out of order sign on my dick. So I was not into it. I was just like, no, I don't want to. Like, I'm not in the mood. And I swear, for about 2 hours, she was just hounding me about it, just hounding me about it. And I finally said, all right, you know what? Fine, sure. Let's just do it real quick so I can shut the fuck up. And so I do it. And after, like I made her come after that. And then once that happened, I feel like I was watching the clock until that happened. And then I was like, all right, fine, we're done there. And kid you not, this is exactly what she said. Aw, he only made me come once. And I just stood there, just not even believing what she just said to me. And I'm like, are you fucking serious?
Was that
I didn't
English
even
you
nut
just
once
spoke?
I didn't even nut once at all. Like I just got it over with. Like that, I was just like, here, I'm just doing you a favor so I can have some silence. And I was still fucked up. So the rest of the night after that, I didn't say a single word until we were about to go to sleep. And then I just told her, all right, look, by the time the month's over, I'm moving out. I can't be here anymore. And she's like, okay, well, where are we moving? I'm like, you don't get it. No, I'm moving out without you. And when I made that clear, she broke down, got super upset, grabbed her shit and left. And she was gone for like 6 or 7 days. And I thought, okay, well, that's over. All right. So I just wiped my hands clean of it, got all my stuff and left. And I went and I went to go call my boss and tell him, hey man, look, I'm looking for a new place to live. If you happen to know where, like if there's a place that I could, rent the place at, or if I can get help with the deposit on something, because this kind of just happened, I'd appreciate it. This is my boss at the time that I said that to. And he just says, well, I'm opening a new store up in NorCal. You can go move up there. I said, all right, sure. He's like, really? Or do you want to are you okay with moving your whole life? I told him, yeah, man, there's nothing else left for me here, All my friends that were here had moved out. And yeah, I'm down to go to a new place. Fuck LA, man. And he's like, all right, well, there you go. So I moved up to NorCal. And this was in 2014. And when I had moved up here, it was in an area of Sacramento, which is a college town. Now, colleges, they got way more women going there than there are men. So the female to male ratio was so much better in Sacramento than it was in LA. LA is the worst, I think, as far as my experience goes. And that was also when Tinder had just become a new thing. So so when I got on there and I was, living on my own with my roommates and working out a whole lot and being single, all of a sudden I was just I got more ass in 1 year than I had ever gotten in my whole life up to that point. Because it was so much different and so much easier when you're in an area where there's just a whole bunch of more loose women. And I wanted to share this story because Drex, I've heard you say like, a bunch of times that like, yeah, all the guys who are in these real bad relationships where they're just being bitch made, there's there's no hope for them. As far as becoming a player goes, yeah, you're right. Like you can't go from being that to, just like running trains and stuff like that, but you can break out of it as long as you know, like face yourself and say, this is bullshit. I ain't gonna take this no more. Fuck it, I'm done. And then just quit doing the whole serious relationship thing and taking it that serious. And uh and that's pretty much the lesson that I had learned, but I really thought about it after a while after it happened, and I wondered, why did I let that happen? Why did I allow myself to get into an open relationship because that shit never works. And I think it's 3 reasons. The first one is it's a sunk cost fallacy. Like, I put in all this time, put in all this energy into trying to make this work. I don't want to just let it fail. But that's the part of the fallacy with sunk cost. You keep investing time into a losing position, and you're going to lose more. Because staying in an open relationship for that reason, it's way, way worse than just breaking up with a chick. So there was that. And I think the second part was just fear. That I was afraid of, just doing a bunch of couch crashing or just being on my own, which is, which you definitely get over once you just start being like, you know what, when you just look down and be like, oh, there's my balls. My balls are right there. I should fucking use my balls and just have a little bit of bravery and just go do what I fucking need to do. There was that. And I think the most major reason was inexperience. I think that's why a lot of simps are the way that they are, because they have no experience with women, and they think that they have to be extremely nice and extremely polite and let them do what they want and let them run the show, when they really, really don't. Because up until that point, yeah, I hadn't gotten very many dates, and I had only had a few different relationships, and I never really did any sport fucking. But after that happened, I just quit giving a fuck, and then wound up having a lot more success with it after that happened. So, yeah, that's basically the story I wanted to share.
Well, I love your story because it addresses a few things. One, it addresses scarcity mindset versus abundance mindset, right? Once you stop giving a fuck and just were like, yo, I'm a free agent, right? You got far more than you ever had. Therefore, you weren't so apt to hop in another relationship, right?
Mm-hmm.
And if you were going to hop in a relationship, you would dictate the terms because you're not afraid to lose her, because now you're like, I got bitches now because I'm in NorCal. I've been to NorCal. I actually know exactly what you're talking about. I've gone all through there. Sacramento in through Davis, which is kind of like the midway point between SFO and Sacktown. You go through all these places, right? And one of the things that you notice, numbers matter, right? Like you said, there were so many more women to men that you were just kind of like, well, damn, what? Did you notice your value increased as the men decreased, right?
Oh, yeah. And that was one of the first things that I noticed when I came up here, too, because there were guys that I was talking to who were just scrubs that were, still pulling numbers and getting dates and sleeping around. And they were even like, yeah, man, don't even really have to try. And I'm like, man, are you fucking serious? Like, over in LA, like, if you didn't have 2 Ferraris and a business, like, it wouldn't get, you wouldn't get time of day.
Yeah,
But
well, let me ask you this though: what do you think about these manosphere, red pill, meathead, idiot guys who talk all this about this? Your money, get your money up. Did you notice? All you had to do is change the environment matters more than the money. Would you agree with that?
I think that is a big part of it, is the environment, and yeah, because up here, well, it has. I think that the whole manosphere thing that you were talking about, where it's like all about money, that is a myth. Because take a look at like dating site surveys. You'll notice that a lot of women who rate most attractive and least attractive men, they all say that as far as race goes, Asians are the least attractive men. Now, Asians men are making a lot of money.
Yep.
So obviously, having a bunch of money really doesn't have shit to do with whether or not you'll pull anything.
Yeah, it's.
I think.
Well, okay. Prime example. Let's say you're a white guy, and let's say you're average or above average, right? And you're thinking, well, Drex, I don't know, man. I don't know if all this stuff is really true. I don't think I'm, that big of a catch. I make decent money. I can take an average to above average white guy. I can throw him in Tokyo, right? In and around Tokyo. What do you think happens to that guy who thought he was average? What happens to him?
He's smashing that night.
Oh, yeah.
He's swimming in pussy, right? Overnight. This is the same guy who was in, he was in LA, right? He was in LA County. He thought, well, I don't think I'm anything special. Do you know the only thing we changed? We didn't change his money. We didn't change his looks. All we changed was his environment, right? He is now the outsider, right? He's now you have the Japanese guys in Japan. They're abundance, right? There's tons of them, right? Supply and demand. A Japanese woman can find a Japanese guy, and remember, most Japanese women aren't attracted to Japanese guys. Yep. The reason their birth rate collapsed is, people keep talking about, oh, Drex, well, what is the reason? I say it's real simple. Once you gave women rights and liberation, you realize they were only with those Japanese guys out of necessity, right?
Yep.
Take that away. Take it where they don't have to, in order literally for them to survive on Earth, they don't need the Japanese man. They will not get with them. They will not have babies by them. You see how that works? And so the open relationship, it was like you said, guys who are saying yes to that, right? The saying yes to an open relationship, it's like, you're right. It's not going to work, right? Because remember, she's always going to get more opportunities than you. You know what I'm saying? That's just a fact. And also, It's like, you don't even feel good about it, right? It's kind of like, okay, even if you're the one that does it, it's like, how did you feel, right? You said in your story, you're just kind of like, I don't even feel good about this shit. Because it made you realize, what am I doing with her then, right? You might as well just break it off.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that this is just me speculating because I really don't know. I haven't asked anybody who's been in that situation that seems or brags about how they're okay with, the girl that they're living with out smashing one of dudes and acts totally okay with it. But I'm speculating that a big reason why they will still put up with it is because they just don't want to admit that they are getting spiritually fucked and just and getting taken advantage of. They just can't admit to it, so they just double down.
Yeah, well, the double down. How much do you think denial plays a factor on both sides? Right.
It's got to be a lot because it's and it's also a self-esteem thing too. I think because you were mentioning earlier, like they're guys that are like, oh, I'm not that attractive, or I'm not that average, or I'm no prize. This is the best that I can get, so I might as well just stick with it.
Well, now, what would you say to the guy who's currently in that? Like, so somewhere out there, there's a guy who might be in a situation like yours, right? What can you tell that guy? He's in a relationship that he doesn't really like that much, or whatever. Like, what do you have to say to that guy who's literally he's just you when this happened? What do you say to that guy?
I would just tell him to be honest with himself and find the courage to do what you want, and do what you need to do, which is end it. Because it's the going back to the reasons why I had stuck with it. Once I ended it, I got over it extremely quick. I was much happier off when I killed it. Even like right after, because it was something that was just weighing on me internally, and I said, you know what, this is just gonna. The longer I sit on this and don't do anything, the longer it's gonna eat at me and make me just miserable. So that's that, and it's possible too. And that's another thing is you going back to the self-esteem part was you can break out of it, but at the same time, there's really not much that I can really say to anybody that's going to get them to do it. They got to come to that conclusion themselves. They gotta find it within themselves, because it's like, some of them can't be fixed. Some of them are just like, you know what, you're like, some of them are just stuck that way, and there's nothing that I can say or do. But um, but to help change that. Uh, but some of them probably could use a little story about how it is possible to cut that shit out.
What do you think is holding them back? Like, what do you think is like the main thing to let that guy know, like, this is what it is? Because, like, we talk about the denial, right? And sometimes, like I said, it boils down to self-esteem. There's abundance versus scarcity. What do you think is all those guys out there who are in that boat? What do you think is like the one thing that if they were able to see, right, like whether it be like a red pill truth or like a podcast, a movie, like, do you think there's any like one thing that you think they can at least go, it can get the gears turning, right? Like they can go like, maybe this is the way to go. Do you think there's any like one thing that can kind of do that, at least get them on the path?
Well, as far as I'm concerned, I don't think that there's a single one reason or one path or one method. Usually issues like that, it's kind of just a fucking dumpster fire, and or like a big pile of reasons. But as far as a main reason, like, one major important thing that I think will help more than anything else, it's just fixing the inexperience. And I feel like that's where a lot of misunderstandings about what women are attracted to and what like how to understand women come from, is you haven't really been with enough of them or talked to enough of them, or really gone around. And some people are just born with that ability to, or that understanding to, not know born with it, but they understand it very, very quickly on how to make that work. Um but but the only way to get that to happen is to not dedicate yourself to the first chick that says yes to you.
Yep.
and
But
and
in
how to
your situation, is that kind of what that was? That in hindsight,
No, not really. I mean, it wasn't really the first one that I've been with. It was, but it was an inexperienced thing, because it was only the second relationship that I had been in life, and I hadn't hooked up with many girls at that point. And but after I moved up to SAC, the amount of women that I had hooked up with had tripled in a year compared to what I had in my entire life beforehand,
hmm
because of just how I had changed my outlook on it, uh and and how I basically presented myself with, because I cut the bullshit.
well, yeah, I've always said this: when you take all of you strip all this down to the core, right? Not showing that interest in that, like that thirst, it gets you the result, right? Because I've had guys criticize me about this. I said, dude, it's how you win. You can't be thirsty. Like if you just literally are just doing your own thing, you're kind of like just like, hey, you just don't really give much mind. They're like, oh my god, man of one title he's so mysterious. He's so this. See, that gets them wet. Being thirsty, ooh, 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 let me subscribe to your OnlyFans. Ooh. See, that doesn't get them wet, right? That dries them up. They're like, oh god, you're repulsive.
Yeah.
And these guys
No,
haven't
yeah,
figured that out,
totally.
man. They haven't figured that out yet. Now I'm telling these guys, like, yo, man, this is the way to do it. The amount of pushback. Do you notice in this manosphere space, the pushback only really comes from the dudes. It's not the females.
Well, as far as pushback, and
In terms of like
what
the
do you mean?
lessons themselves, like so I don't mean like the
Oh,
feminazis are what they are, right? But do you notice it's primarily the dudes who are basically mad about everything in the manosphere, right? Like, oh, that's how you treat a lady. Blah, 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 blah. Whereas if you ask women, hey, ladies, do you like a bitch made beta male, right? They all say no, right? The guys come on saying, oh, these guys are toxic. They hate women. That's not how you treat a lady. And it's like, okay, so why don't you go out there and buy them flowers and be a simp and see what happens? Oh, look, shocking. Your girl cheated on you, right?
mhm.
It's no shock. Look,
I, I think I think a big one of the reasons for that is too, is because when a woman sees a guy who is just it just falls over every stumble that he can just to talk to her, and no other girls are talking to him. And there's a big reason for that. It's kind of like, if you ever met somebody who doesn't have any friends at all, then you usually go, okay, there's probably a reason that he drives people away, or like there's something wrong, something's off there. And
absolutely.
And that's and women can sense that with a guy who because it just reeks of desperation.
Oh, absolutely.
And that is one of the least attractive qualities in people in general.
Yeah, like here's the thing. Desperation works differently on males and females. So for females, if they see a desperate guy, they'll go, okay, I'll use him for his money, right? Some kind of resource, whether it's attention, money, his time, rides, he fixes stuff at the house, something, right? They'll use him for his utility, right? When men see a desperate woman, they're like, well, I don't want to hang out with her. I don't want a relationship with her. I mean, hey, she's desperate. She wants it, so I guess I'll give her the D. See, they'll only use that woman for sex. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And this is what guys need to start acknowledging, man. Like the open relationship, all this stuff, it's not going to work, right?
But how often, women who really?
Oh, say it again.
Say saying like how often? No, sorry about that. How often are there really attractive women that are really that desperate? I mean, they'll go for certain guys, yeah, but it's
yeah. Okay, attractive women are desperate for the high value guy. They'll use the lower value guy, the mid value guy. That being said, here's something that I want guys to understand. Very attractive women don't really get approached. You see what I'm saying? It is the average women are the most entitled because they get the most approaches, right? Because most people, think about it. You ever notice that fat chicks have higher standards than most women out here in the streets now?
Who is that?
You notice that, right? Like remember, there's a time when fat chicks kind of knew their place. Not anymore, right? They're like, a guy has to have a 6-pack abs. You're like, wait a minute, but you're a fat chick. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's the disconnect between, because attractive women, guys don't generally go after women who they think they have no chance with.
Yeah.
Generally. I mean,
in general, they aren't going to approach.
The PUAs will do that, right? The PUAs, and it'll be like, oh, you're just a hoe anyways. And it's like, well, okay, well.
Well, a lot of it's just numbers game. That part of the PUAs actually is true. Like, the worst that a hot chick can ever say to you is no, right? You shot your shots. She said no. Okay. And? So there it is. Yeah, if you just, like, if a hot chick gets ignored, remember, she's out, lusting. She's desperate for attention the same way the average girl is, right? The average girl just gets more approaches. The hot girl wants your attention, but when you don't give it to her, she's like, well, damn. That's why if you notice, there's kind of like this weird stigma where the fat chick and the hot chick are kind of like in the same competition, right? Like the fat chick may get more like friendships or even guys to smash. The hot chick is kind of like, well, why can't I get that? Like, it's because most guys just won't even approach her. Simple as that.
And the Me Too era exacerbated that.
Oh, absolutely.
Now you have another reason not to approach her.
Oh, it's one of 5 million. But yeah, man of one title. Thanks for coming on. Is there any last words you want for anybody out there?
Well, just a couple of things. Like on the point that you were saying about like the Me Too, and just like approaching women also, was that like it's. Yeah, I feel like that also does come from intimidation, and but on top of that, as far as fat chicks thinking that they got like all these options and are acting like with high standards. I feel like that's also going back to the environment type of thing, because they're being told that they're like your body doesn't matter as much, like you're a queen anyways no matter what you look like, which is a lie.
Women don't believe that.
Yeah, and but a lot of guys will still go for that because it's it also goes back into the self-esteem thing. It's like, well, this is me, this is what I am, maybe I should go for this instead of trying to make yourself better and have some better standards for yourself. Which is, I think that they could really use.
That might be the greatest philosophical debate of our time, Drex. Do you think Lizzo thinks she's hot?
Absolutely not. No. What she has is loud insecurity. Yeah, Lizzo. Here's the thing: people think that is that's confidence. No. Confidence comes from being quiet. That's confident. When you're like, yeah, I know I got this. Whereas when you see someone being loud and obnoxious and twerking at everywhere they go and stuff, do you guys notice? Lizzo has no man, right? No man of value commits to her. You see what I'm saying? She's starting to realize, oh man, maybe being a fat, loud, obnoxious chick isn't really working. You see what I'm saying? So yeah, Lizzo's not that delusional. She is delusional, make no mistake, but she's not that delusional. She knows if she walks into a club right now, tonight, and there's a hot chick who's half her size, she knows that chick is gonna get the guy. You see what I'm saying?
As it should.
Yeah.
It's like fucking, take the belly weight off. And stop showing up to everything fucking ass naked.
Yeah, it's a bad look. That's
The desperation
Denial.
shows, clearly.
Yeah, it's definitely denial. But holy shit! Yeah,
I think so.
oh yeah, what did you have to say?
You're almost on legal mindset, man.
Oh yeah, I'm getting ready.
Oh,
Yeah, I'm
sure.
looking at the time. You have a last word.
I'll make it real quick. It's a real quick funny story that just happened yesterday. I was my mom came to visit for Christmas, and we were at dinner, and I was telling her she had no idea what a simp was, and about like Twitch thoughts or anything like that. So I tried explaining it to her, and she just goes, "Whoa, whoa, 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 whoa! Wait a minute! You're telling me that there are guys that are out there online that are paying women a bunch of money, and they're not even meeting up with them. They're like, it's just for like attention, just to talk to them. There's nothing really that happens from it." And I said, "Yeah, there are women out there that are making like a killing doing that." She's like, "Those men are fucking fools."
Yep.
and
then mom's on the computer that night.
Hell no. She just shook her head and she'd be all like, "Well, I mean, you know what? Like, can't say I really blame the women. I mean, I guess they're really just giving them what they want. They're working with what they got, but still, that's fucking sad." And I just wanted to say that because that cracked me up. But anyways,
even moms know. Yeah, like I said, she didn't respect the simp because no one does. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, exactly.
It doesn't matter what age they are, what ethnic group. Like no one respects simps, and yet simps just start simping hard. Like she's gonna like me eventually. Okay, whatever.
Oh
dude.
no! If your mom were to talk to one of these e-thoughts, the first thing she'd say is, "You aren't actually respecting any of these guys," and she'd be like, "Oh hell no!"
Mm-hmm. Why would they?
I just use them, and she's like, "Mm-hmm."
Yeah, I don't blame them. I don't blame them. Like, look, if I were an e-thought, I would use these dudes too. Why not?
I mean, yeah,
Drex, you would make a great e-thought.
I agree.
Right? Nick says you would make a wonderful e-thought.
Oh God.
Oh man. Well, yeah. Thanks for coming on, man.
That's all, man.
Oh yeah, we greatly appreciate it, man. Yeah, go ahead and hang out. Like I said, I'll probably do a live chat tomorrow. So if you want to hop into that anytime, go ahead. And we'll go ahead and get you out of here.